What is up, you guys? I hope everyone's doing well. You survived another week at RIT. I did. I most definitely did. All right. Welcome to RIT Sec. Announcements. You want to start this, Jacob Dole? Let's go. What could he be announcing? Oh my gosh.
Wow, it's almost like I have an announcement or something. All right, so it is with my great excitement that I am now announcing that IRSEC will be taking place November 5th. So, yes. Keep an eye out for announcements because I will be making an announcement here in like 10 minutes whenever I actually hit enter on the announcements channel. That will include the sign-up forms for Blue Team. Please sign up if you have a full team already, or so teams consist of 5 members. So the form will allow you either to sign up as a full team, or if you need us to find you a team, you can also sign up individually. I recommend anyone that has never blue teamed before, definitely sign up. And if you are also, maybe you don't want a blue team, I will also be opening up white team signups as well. So keep an eye out for that. And white team is kind of helps out with day of operations, so they're going to help us set up the rooms. They're also going to be roaming around, and if any blue teamers need help, they'll get them in contact with black team. So yeah, keep an eye out for announcements. I will be posting that shortly.
The links will also be on the website.
Oh yeah,
The links will also be on the website, yeah. irsec.club. That's probably also be in the announcement. Okay. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, please join the Discord. I would assume everybody has, but if you've not, I'll leave it on screen. Okay, I think we're good. Sign in. Like now. Or else. Then you won't get pizza. You need to sign in order to get pizza. You know this. We know this. Let's go. Give everybody a little time to do that. Okay. Check the calendar. That's where all the events are. Yeah. Sign up for the mailing list. Also, get notifications for the events. Meet the sponsors. Let's go. Okay, round of applause. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Keep it going. Oh, yeah. One more. Yeah. Woo. Okay. Follow us on social media. We now have a new A-board member. Yeah, I was gonna say, we now have a new A-board member, Sophia Larson, right? Is she here? No, she now manages our social media. So can we get a round of applause for Sophia? Because that's like, yeah.
And Loon.
Oh, and Loon, who's our webmaster. I completely forgot. But yeah, round of applause for Loon, too. Is Loon here? Loon? Hi, Loon. Okay. So today we have a presentation for Career Fair Prep with Miss Kat. Right? We're gonna have a fun time. Kat is so good. She knows so much. Oh yeah. Okay. Come on, Kat.
Yes,
I'm sorry. I made it as awkward as possible.
it's okay. Where should I click this? Can everyone hear me? Oh God, that's loud. Okay. Okay. Just make sure. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Kat, and I'll be giving today's Career Fair Prep presentation. So for everyone that doesn't know me, again, my name is Catherine Nayan. I usually go by Kat. I'm a third year in CSEC, and my interests in security are specifically in DFIR, so digital forensics and incident response. Those are some of the clubs I'm part of, so I'm secretary for WESIS this year. I'm part of RITSEC, obviously. Ex-outreach committee co-head for WIC, and I'm part of Sigma Xi Zeta Sorority Incorporated. And I'm also mom to Dumpling, who's right there. Go on the Cat's channel, she's very cute. And so the point of this presentation is obviously career fair prep. Before I continue, I do want to begin by saying that especially for freshmen and second years, Like, I understand that, especially for freshmen, it's not necessary to get a co-op your first year. And it can be very daunting, the thought of finding or getting a co-op. I've definitely been in your shoes, and I'm pretty sure if you ask any other member that's in this room who's gotten an internship or a co-op, that they have been to. So this is my co-op experience, and I'll be explaining the significance of every single one. I also want to say that my experience is not going to be the same as everyone else's in the room. So my freshman year, I worked 2 jobs. I worked RIT Gen Cyber as a summer camp instructor, and I also did an REU with NYIT, and the REU was what I had put down as my co-op. So the significance of RIT Gen Cyber, when I came to college, I didn't have the most technical experience. I did a summer camp that was like all girls computer science for cybersecurity. And what I learned there was probably what freshmen learn in CSAC 140, but at the time I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I learned about like steganography and forensics and all that stuff. And I was so inspired by it that I was like, I want to be able to have that impact on someone else. I want to be that mentor for someone else in the future. And I had the opportunity to do that for Gen Cyber. It's also a great talking point during interviews. I think it shows my passion and how much I want to be able to give back. My REU with NYIT was machine learning research. For context, REUs are very competitive to get into. I think it's a less than 10% acceptance rate for them. And I did not expect to get accepted into one. I saw a posting from like the career co-op office, and it said cybersecurity REU. I was like, ooh, experience, let me apply. I didn't think I had the technical skill for it, but I thought I'd just apply anyway. And so I did some cool stuff. I did machine learning research for speech and motion recognition. My work was accepted into the 2022 IEEE ICASP, which is the International Conference on Acoustic, Speech, and Signal Processing. Cool stuff, but by the end of it, I realized that research is not for me, and that's okay, because the point of your internships and co-ops are to learn what you like and what you don't. And then came my sophomore year. Fall semester of my sophomore year, I was really motivated. I was like on my co-op grind. I was looking for jobs. I went to the WESA's virtual career fair, and I had interviewed on the spot with a couple companies. And it was just an initial screening to see, get to know me and whatnot, and I didn't hear back from them for a while. And then I went to the in-person WESA's conference, and that is where I met Toby and Lifty, who was a guest speaker at WESA's a couple weeks ago. And I met her with Olivia, and it was a great experience. She was so empathetic towards me. She was like, I told her about my fears, like, I don't know anything, I don't know if I'm gonna get this job. I want to do this, I want to do that. And she said, the thing that she told me and what stuck out to me was that she said her definition of fail is first attempt in learning, and not to let something like that, your fear of failure, to stop you from pursuing other opportunities. So after the conference, I heard back from the companies that I had interviewed with on the spot for the virtual career fair. One company said they'll get back to me next year. And another company, I had a behavioral interview, I had a technical interview, and then I heard back, and they had essentially said, come back when you have more skills. And hearing something like that, obviously you're gonna be very unmotivated, discouraged. I definitely was. I fell off from my co-op hunt, grind, whatever, but that's okay. I took time for myself. And then came spring semester. I went back to the WESA's conference, and I saw Palo Alto tabling there again. And I saw Toby again, and I told her how much what she had said meant to me. And that's where I met her. Little did I know, I had also met my future manager there, and my manager was Toby. And they encouraged me to apply, and a month later, I got an interview. And then another interview, and then another interview, and then I eventually got an offer from Palo Alto Networks the end of April. And that's where I worked this recent summer as a professional services consultant, and it was the best. I love Palo Alto Networks. I'm gonna shamelessly plug Palo Alto for life. If you have any questions, ask me about Palo. But yeah. So the point of this is for me to say, like, it's okay. You know, you're gonna face obstacles. You're gonna compare yourself to other people. That imposter syndrome is inevitable, but it really takes one person to say yes and to believe in you. And I feel like that's what happened to me. And you know, I'm very fortunate to have worked at Palo Alto Networks. I still talk to my manager bi-weekly because I'm helping them set up their WESIS corporate affiliate. I met with a Unit 42 consultant yesterday just to chat. I still talk to Toby. Everyone's so great. So those are clubs and orgs, but I'm going to skip over that. All right. So I'm going to be splitting up this presentation into 3. So preparing for the job, finding the job, and what happens once you have the job. So resumes. So this is a very basic format for what you should include in your resume. Objective, education, skills, work experience, and other things you can include are your activities, projects, competitions, conferences, any volunteer experience. Pretty basic. So for your objective, essentially you want it to be 1 sentence. No need to go beyond that. No need to fluff it. The format you'd want to follow is something along the lines of seeking a cybersecurity co-op, internship, full-time position, whatever you're looking for, starting when you're looking for it. So it would be summer 2023. You can also tailor your resumes for specific positions. So this is where you'd want to put in a specialization. So seeking a co-op, whatever, specializing in digital forensics and incident response. You can customize it to the position you're applying for. And then the next part is your education. So obviously you include Rochester Institute of Technology, your degree that you're working towards, so BS or MS in computing security. Your expected graduation year, if anyone talks to Olivia will tell you that that's also a hot take. Some people don't include it, might increase your chances of getting an internship. Yeah, but typically your graduation shows how qualified you are. Some companies are looking for students that can come back for another internship. And they really want to see how long it is till you can be offered a full-time position. And like some things you would want to look out for is like mid to end of your internship. If like your recruiter or someone asks you when is your graduation year, shows that they're probably interested in hiring you again. Also, another reason why they do that is a lot of companies specifically look for juniors and seniors. So if you take out your graduation year, I feel like, you know, they won't know if you're a freshman, sophomore when they're looking for a junior or senior, so they'll still consider you. You'd want to include any minors that you have, your GPA, and what's optional are certifications and relevant coursework. So relevant coursework is really just to highlight, you know, like what classes have you taken that have given you skills that you can apply in the field. So something like Intro to Routing and Switching, you have experience in networking. CSEC 201, programming for InfoSec, malware reverse engineering, all great things. So skills. This is obviously where you're gonna list your skills. You really wanna list them in order from what you know most to least, and you can categorize them. So programming languages, any softwares, operating systems, spoken languages if you really want. If you're tailoring your resume for a specific position, you can include something like DFI software, or you can like cluster them all together. I know for my most recent submitted resume for DFIR, I included like containerization and DFIR software. So for something like Autopsy or FTK Imager, make sure you're comfortable using the listed items because you know your resume is essentially a template for recruiters to ask you and hiring managers to ask you questions. So if you list something on there, you better be comfortable using it. So your work experience. This is where you include any past work, co-op, internships that you've had. You typically want to sort them latest, like your most recent to your oldest, and make sure they're relevant. But if you don't have enough experience, it's okay to include other things. You typically want to format it like proper tense, so ED verbs like collaborated, designed, modified, created. Make sure you name tools, languages, softwares, anything that will stand out for a company. They want to know that you have had some experience using something because the chances that it'll show up again in the field, are high. It's likely. Keep things short and sweet. Give enough context that you can continue to describe the work that you've done during an interview. You don't want to overwhelm it. Include any quantitative data. When I had research on my resume, I included something like masks reduced recognition by approximately 13 to 15%. Anything like that will help because it shows that you actually had results from the work you did. Avoid the format of using I was doing this and that. Again, just start with like an ED verb. So activities, projects, and more. So another section you can include are clubs and professional orgs. This is where you would include RITSec. Personal projects, if you're in mentorship, include those projects. Something like Rubber Ducky, or if you've done something relevant to your position during class, then it's great to include. Any competitions you participated in, so if you were at Seesaw last week, that's something great to include. UB Lockdown, CTFs, RSEC, ISTS, and more. Conferences, hot take, someone told me yesterday that it's like hit or miss with that. Like, it doesn't hurt you if you put it, but not necessary. So something like WESIS conference, ShmooCon, DEF CON, more. If you gave a talk at these conferences, then that also really helps you. Research, you can include any of your RITSec presentations, and I have had past research, so that's a category I included. Yeah. So some things to keep in mind. Make sure you start early. Co-op is not necessary for freshmen, but it's a good way to get some practice in. You never know if you'll end up getting something out of it, and like, even if your interviews don't go as well, like if you have a mock interview or something, that's okay, it's practice. You'll get better as time goes on. Some things to keep in mind are also, where do you want to work? It's an important question because, like if you get an interview, you better know why you want to work there. I made that mistake before. It was very awkward. Research the roles and people at the company. So you can use LinkedIn for something like this. Know what roles are offered, what different departments are offered, if it's something you're interested in. And yeah, make sure you can, optional, but customize your resume to the posting. Some people just like to submit their general resume, and that's okay. If it has all the information you need, then that's fine. Okay, so this is an example. I don't know how clear it is, but this is Spencer Roth's resume, as Olivia's request. So his is pretty great. All his skills have different things like pen testing, red team, DevOps, reverse engineering, machine learning. He's pretty like, I guess the word you'd say is like marketable. It's all things that people want to see. His work experience is all, I'm pretty sure, pen testing related. And yeah, it's also very pleasing to look at, so that's something to keep in mind. This is my resume. This is the resume I submitted for my Unit 42 application, and mine is very custom to a DFIR position. So I included things like DFIR applications, competitions, organizations I made sure to include because it shows I had some leadership experience, and of course I included Palo Alto Networks because Unit 42 is under Palo Alto. Yeah. So before I continue, does anyone have any questions about preparing a resume? Yes.
If I've done any projects, should I put that on my resume?
Yes. I think if the project is relevant to the role, it's definitely a good thing to include on your resume. I know a lot of people have had like projects from classes and stuff, and a lot of people want to take it out, but I think, especially if you have some space, it's okay to include it in there. It shows that you have had something to do. But yeah. Yes.
What if I have too much stuff and my resume goes like more than 1 page?
If it's for a general resume, I guess if you have things on there that are like very outdated, if you have anything from high school or anything that you think you can sacrifice, take it out. Make sure your descriptions for your work experience are short and sweet, as concise as possible. It saves you a lot of space. Formatting is another thing. So if you have a lot of blank space, make sure you reformat it so that's a bit more condensed. I think that helps. Anyone else? Okay, cool. So the next part is of preparing for a job is your online presence. This is very important, especially because something you include on your resume are like your contact information or your LinkedIn or your Twitter, GitHub, things like that. And once you submit your resume, like a recruiter or a hiring manager may look at that. They will do some OSINT on you. So obviously you don't want anything extremely inappropriate or unprofessional linked to your name. It's something to be aware of. So we're gonna go through a couple of those. So LinkedIn, GitHub, personal website, Twitter, RITSec, YouTube. So the example I use for LinkedIn is Olivia's, LinkedIn queen, right? So something about this is what stands out is that, Olivia obviously has a lot of interactions with people on LinkedIn. It's very active on there. Your resume is on there. All your achievements are listed out for you. Something you do every so often. Something else you can do is that, I don't personally do this, but you can say that you're open to work. Any past experience. Someone might message you, someone might not. So your GitHub, this is Brad's GitHub. It's very pretty. He provided a link if you want to make yours pretty too. So GitHub is good because it gives people a sample of your code. I'm personally not sure how often it's looked at, but it's good to make sure that you have some relevant stuff on there. Include an introduction about yourself, what skills, programming languages you're familiar with. And then personal website, I use Alex's, very pretty. So blog posts, having a personal website is good because when you have something like blog posts, especially when it's like cybersecurity related, it shows not only like, are you active and that you want to share your, experience with the world or like the community, shows that you do something other than academia too, or like academics. Like Alex, for example, included that he works on side projects and enjoys learning foreign languages. So include other stuff on there other than just like cybersecurity interests. Twitter, there's a lot of security people on Twitter. I use Olivia and Shannon as an example. Yeah, that's really all I have to say for this. Yes?
Who is
Shannon
Shannon?
McHale is ex-RITSec president. Very great. She's the one that I was a teeny freshman, and Shannon messaged me when I was in WIC, and she was like, "You should go to RITSec. You should become a WIC committee head." Very great. When I went to the WESIS conference, her and her mentor would drag me around and make me practice my elevator pitch at the conference, so I'd be more comfortable for the next year. So they're great. Definitely reach out. RITSec YouTube. You'll be on there if you give a presentation. From this one picture, I'm pretty sure Tenchi's name shows up like 3 times. So it's a good way to get your name out there. Also, Max's name is on there like 3 times. So it's a good thing to mention on your blog posts or on your LinkedIn. So after a presentation, if you have the link for it, you can mention it, get your name out there. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? Yes.
Well, not a question, but more of a comment specifically about the GitHub. Make sure that the stuff you have published is stuff that you are proud of and you would want to put. I have had employers who have gone through and made comments about my documentation and not my adherence to best practices. And I also know people who have been denied because their code doesn't meet their standards. So make sure the stuff that's published is
Okay.
Can you repeat that for the stream?
Oh, so Alex said that make sure that things that you publish on your GitHub are things that you're proud of. Yeah, essentially TLDR of what Alex said. Okay, cool. So finding the job, career fairs. This is what we are all preparing for. When are they? So RITSec's Career Fair Eve virtual is on Monday, September 19th, 7 to 9 p.m. What? Oh, sorry. Oops. Yeah, September 19th, 7 to 9 p.m. on Zoom. The in-person one is on Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. here. The university-wide career fair is on Wednesday from 10 to 4 p.m. in Gordon Fieldhouse. And things to look out for are the WESIS virtual career fair again and the WESIS conference in the spring. At the WESIS conference, there will be an in-person career fair. That's how I got my Palo Alto Networks job. It's how Jenna got security risk advisors and so on. So, okay, so elevator pitch. This is usually a thing that most people struggle with, and it is, I would say, very awkward, especially at the university one, because you're in a straight line and you're selling yourself to a recruiter, and like you get really anxious because there's someone else behind you that's probably listening to what you're saying. I'm not a fan of it, but you gotta do it. So it's a 60-second pitch of who you are. Things to include are your name, your current year, major, your school. This is not necessary for RIT career fairs, obviously, but good to include for something like WESIS. Your clubs and your positions, past work experience, other accomplishments like if you've given a talk at a conference. In my free time is optional. It just shows that you do something outside of academics, and your reason for being there today. What are you looking for? A co-op, an internship, when? Virtual career fairs. Essentially, how the WESIS one worked, at least, is that there were a ton of companies. They had their virtual booths. You go to a chat room, you copy and paste your elevator pitch, and link your resume as well. And usually a recruiter or a hiring manager or whoever is there will personally DM you once they have time. And then sometimes they'll ask you to interview on the spot. What you can do is, Olivia said this, don't do that. don't do an interview on the spot. Chances are you're not prepared. So tell them you're in class and reschedule it for another time. Make sure you research the companies that you're doing this for. I know some people just use a virtual career fair as like practice to get their name out there, or like to practice an interview if it happens. Make sure you have a nice shirt on, a nice business casual shirt. You want to wear pajama bottoms, that's fine, as long as your upper body is fine. And make sure your camera is on. Stay professional. So interviews. So some things to prepare. Prepare projects. Again, some people like to tailor their resumes to specific postings, so know which resume you submitted for which job posting. Some things may change, and you want to be wary of that because you may forget what you have previously put on there, and if they ask you about it, you want to know what you're talking about or prepared to talk about it. So some projects you've worked on in the past, challenges, mistakes, failures, strengths, weaknesses, common things that they will ask for. Any leadership experience you have, how are you to work in a team? And a big thing is, why this company? Again, I got asked this for Palo Alto. It was kind of awkward, but I did. It's okay. I got there. Yeah. So also another thing is that they would want to hear is like, what things would you want to do differently? It shows that you think about growth and learning from past experiences. So for behavioral interviews, usually when you go through a behavioral interview, it's usually to see like what your personality is like. They typically ask you situational questions like, if you are in a situation where like you're facing conflict with another coworker, what would you do? Things like that. A good method to practice for this is the STAR method, and STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. You want to prepare a scenario for each one, or like one scenario, know the situation, what you had to do, what was the problem, what was the issue, and how did you like resolve it as a result, something like that. And here is a more broken down explanation of STAR method. So for technical interviews, make sure you're honest with what you know. They will see through any BS. They'll know if you're faking it. Very scary. Ask your friends to fact check you or to review some technical things with you. I know for my one technical interview, it was when I was a sophomore my fall semester, and they asked me things like, what is the OSI model, TCP versus UDP, what's hashing, are you familiar with hashing, things like that. Just familiarize yourself with those things again. And again, if you don't know it, just be honest. Make sure to ask questions by the end of your interview. Make conversation with your recruiter or hiring manager. It shows that you have interest in the company. So some common things to ask for are, why did you pick this company? Describe your average day. And I think the last three are like the biggest things for me. So how would you describe the culture? Is there an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z? And do interns get training or certification opportunities? I will personally be asking the third one a lot more for other companies than Palo Alto Networks because my experience was great at Palo Alto. They did begin by saying like it's cheesy how much you'll hear how great the culture at the company is, but it was true. Like the mentorship was great. The intern program was great. They like made it as collaborative as possible. Everyone was so open to help you. You know, like I'm not the most technical person, and I asked as many questions as possible, and I didn't feel dumb for asking them. Everyone's just willing to help. So that's something I will definitely be asking. Is there an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z? It shows that you want to take initiative or work on different projects. And do interns get training or certification opportunities? That's a good one to ask because like a company like Palo Alto will typically pay you or help pay for your certification as long as you're studying for it. There's also things like a company will help you go to a conference or pay for you to go to a conference. Like if my internship was extended, I probably would have been able to go to DEF CON for free, but that's okay. So the next slide is our answers to a question that was asked by a CISO on LinkedIn. And the question was, when considering your team members' performance or potential, what qualities do you consider to be indicators of top talent? And so these are the answers from a couple other higher-ups at companies. So things like curiosity, desire to learn more, agility, tenacity, collaboration, communication, self-awareness.
Gotta love it.
Test, test, test. Can you guys hear? Is it coming through on the stream? Yeah. Say something.
Hello?
Can you
Hello?
guys hear that?
Hello? Hello?
I think you're gonna have to just hold it in front of your mouth.
Okay. Hello? Does that work?
No, you're good on stream.
Is that fine? Okay, cool.
It might be too. I'll turn it down a little bit. Okay. Say something.
Hello?
Say it.
Hello?
Okay. Oh, someone said it's fine. Also, your Twitch chat's over here in case people ask questions.
Okay. Cool.
Keep going.
Okay. So these were some of the answers that they had, and obviously technical skill is very important, but that's something that you will learn with time and experience. Again, I went into this position at Palo Alto Networks, and I was not the most technical person, but I came out of it learning a lot. So, again, these are like C-suite people, top of the company people answering, and not once is there mention of you needing to know all things technical. What people really look for is that you're not a robot and that you do have soft skills. I know personally for me during my interviews with Palo Alto Networks, I think the things that stood out the most is that I emphasize that I'm very big on communication and that I have had leadership experience in the past and that I'm like willing to learn whatever it is to make sure I succeed in my role. So again, obviously this list is non-exhaustive, but these are some of the things that different people are looking for. So skill set, passion, ability / willingness to learn, confidence, communication, and how are you to work with. Okay, so any questions? No? Okay, cool. So what happens once you get the job? How to not get fired. So these are just a couple things. So one big thing is the employee handbook. It may be really lengthy, but it's very important to take the time to read through it. There may be things in there that you don't expect that aren't allowed, so make sure you take your time with it. Could contain info on intellectual property, work attire, ethical decisions, authorized usage of company property, and any penalties for breaking policy. So all good things that you should know. So work etiquette, make sure you show up on time. Even if you are in a remote position, make sure you show up on time. Ask for appropriate work hours, because especially for me, I had to with you being very casual, showing up in a t-shirt or jeans. Palo Alto was very business casual in person. A lot of people in blazers and slacks and things like that. Make sure you get enough sleep. If you're tired, if you can't give your 100, then you're no help to anyone. Tired people are not productive people, and please don't sleep on the job.
Try and hold it closer to your mouth. They can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Is it better? Okay, cool. Okay. Make sure you're appropriate. Avoid inappropriate conversations. Don't overstep any boundaries. Everyone has their own sharing comfort. If you really want to share something, at least ask before doing so. And feedback. So feedback is very important. It's also something I learned very quickly at Palo Alto Networks. I ask for feedback from my manager quite frequently. And she wasn't the best person to go to because she was just like, oh, you're fine. So I asked consultants that I was working with, because they're the more technical people. I asked them what I could be doing more. And it's important to remember that criticism is there to help you. It's something that you should be working on in order to, succeed in the future. Yeah. So make sure you communicate with your manager frequently, your coworkers. Don't isolate yourself. I know for me, I spoke to my manager at least like 2 to 3 times a week, just because, yeah. So another big thing, the part that I probably enjoy the most is networking. So one-on-ones. This is very important. By the end of my internship at Palo Alto Networks, I had done probably 45 to 50 different one-on-ones, and these are all one-on-ones where I had reached out myself and asked to meet with people. It's really great. It helps you practice your elevator pitch. You have to introduce yourself to these people, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be with doing so. You get to ask questions about their role, and with this, you're going to come into contact with people in different departments, different roles. You'll slowly learn what you like and what you don't. It could be something cool, like firewall stuff. I thought that stuff was cool, but it wasn't my thing, so I was like, I'm not gonna continue doing that in the future. I'm not a networking person. So you'll definitely learn what you like and what you don't like. I know for me, my manager was the one to encourage me to do networking. I had met with like VP of Global Professional Services. I met with Director of UX UI, Director of Offensive Security, Director for Talent Acquisition, Unit 42 people. Those are all people that I specifically wanted to hear from, because, it's what I wanted to learn more about. And, I'm applying to Palo Alto again. It's important for me to know. So, yeah. And again, connect with everyone you work with. If you've had a one-on-one with someone, connect with them on LinkedIn. It'll be a good way to keep up with them. I know for me, after I met Toby initially at the WESIS conference, one of the things that stuck out to me was that she followed up with me. And I thought it was awkward. I thought it was weird at first, but it was really nice, because by the time I got to the WESIS conference again, I messaged her and I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to be there again. Are you going to be there? I'll stop by the booth and whatnot. And it was really nice. You definitely build up a relationship with the people you meet with. So send a message, remind people who you are, especially if you're requesting things like a referral or something. Remind people who you are. Don't just directly ask for it. And yeah, helps build a rapport, like good connections, good, relationships can lead to future recommendations on opportunities. For example, like you can meet someone and, post internship, you're looking for another job, another co-op, and someone you met with had transferred to another company, say like Google Cloud or something. You had a good relationship with this person, they might offer you a potential career opportunity there. So, and lastly, social events, very important. Don't isolate yourself, especially when it comes to like a virtual internship. It's very easy to just like keep doing work and not socialize with other people. I took the initiative to just pester a lot of other interns because I didn't want to keep looking at a firewall all day. So it's great. It's a great way to learn what other interns are doing, learn about different products, things like that. So if you have the opportunity to try for an in-person internship, meet coworkers outside of your project, and again, refer back to the LinkedIn slide. So like connect with them, make sure you follow up with them. If this is someone that you really want to, continue a relationship with in the future, make sure you follow up with them. And yeah, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.